Try to laugh challenge. A weirdo walks into a bar. Dung! Ouch, he says. Here's a good one for you. A drunken woman calls. She wants to break up with me, even though I don't have a girlfriend or wife anymore. She dialed the wrong number because she never drinks and she never drinks. She says, I don't know who I am anymore, but we just don't work. I repeat her words. I don't know who I am, although I don't really know who she is. She continues, we love each other so much, but we just can't continue this way. You have the wrong number, I tell her. She just laughs. You know the truth. Still deluded as always. On that she has my number. I say it. I can't face the truth. I have had other late night phone calls before, back when my late wife and I lived in Temp. Once, our new phone number was the same as the defunct joke line. People would call that old joke line every day, and I would hand out jokes. I'd try to tell them that they had the wrong number, but they just reply, that's not funny. After a while, I started to tell them jokes. I got a joke book from Barnes & Noble. I started to copy down jokes from late night TV. I even Googled the world's best joke. My wife was not amused. She would shake her head in disgust at the fact that I would be skipping my lectures to make jokes. When she got a wrong number, she would put the phone down and the line would go dead. I knew things were not too good when the other night, just before bed, she told me that she had dreamed about me, saying that she had dreamt that she poked thingies into my eyes. In her dream, she said I must have deserved it, she thought. I said, I think you can tell a lot about a person based on what they dream about you and if they want to put their thingies in your eyes while you're dreaming. After reading Eat, Pray, Love, my wife left me. She said she wanted to be alone, so she ran away with one of the Frenchman composition students. That day, I told the callers on the joke line that I was the world's biggest joke. The woman who dialed the wrong number is still talking between sobs. At least we did not have the baby. Ooh, you were always my baby. I think of the jokes I learned, something I learned just to help her. I tried one that, according to Wikipedia and Thomas Heathshire at the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania, said was the world's funniest joke at Laugh Lab. Although a footnote says that it appeared many years ago on the Jack Benny program on a footnote. I tell her the joke. A woman gets onto the bus with a baby. The driver of the bus says, that's the ugliest baby I've ever seen. The woman goes to the back of the bus and sits down fuming. Says to the man next to her, the driver of the bus just insulted me. He says, you go right up there and tell him off. I'll hold your little animal for you. Then I tell her another one. I'm on a roll like a giant on a hamster wheel. And she laughs, a sweeter one this time. Stop it, she says, her voice softening. But I see the green light. My wife had always said I was too chirpy for her, and she was right. Even now alone, except for my little hamster who wears a tuxedo, my heart is wide for happiness. I wake up in the morning and think of silly little songs to sing to Raymond the hamster, while he meows and eats his little food. And if someone calls asking for a joke, the optimist in me will still tell them a joke thinking that it might help. I give the woman on the phone a question about misrepresentation. I say it in a soft voice. Chico Marx always said I wasn't kissing her, I was just whispering in her mouth. She gets quiet. I can feel smiling. She's still out there and she starts talking about the history of our relationship. Our first date, our sweet kiss and more. In the house I hear Raymond the hamster walking on a hairball. I wave my hand out to both of them. I say it's okay, get it out. I think about my history with my ex-wife and how we would be together for long after our university. Still loving each other more than ever, having a happy forever. Again, the optimist. And how now we would forever be apart. I thought about it as the woman on the phone talked about her story, until her story was like some other person's story in my head. History has no future, I said emboldened, and emboldened by the distance on the line. I know it's a bad joke, but it's also a kind of hope that there will be a new future, a new first kiss, a new first date, and a chance to live another life. And I wait in brief silence, listening before action. You sound different, she says tenderly. My tongue thickens. The past is slipping away. There will be things to work out, but anything can happen. Honey, I am different. I say, I've changed. I'm a new man. Another one. Once upon a time there was a bit of salad dressing and a plate, and the salad dressing said to the plate, hey plate, what you gonna do? Plate said, don't worry, lunch on me. Here's another one. Now I have a deviated septum, and in my pocket right now, I promise you I have tons of tissues. Now, how do you make a tissue dance? That's the major question. Well, you could also put a little boogie in it, boogie in it, boogie in it, put a little boogie in it, put a little boogie in it. The other day I went into the optometrist's office because I have quite poor eyesight, and the optometrist was telling me something. So I said to him, I wanted to know, how many optometrists does it take to change a light bulb? Is it 1 or 2? Is it 1 or 2? Is it 1 or 2? And just like that, he said, yep, you definitely need glasses. Now, here's a beautiful one. Imagine Shakespearean era with our spear hats, suits, and pantaloons. Now, imagine you are in King Arthur. Hail King Arthur's court. The sword and the stone. Who was the roundest knight? Remember, there were 15 to 30 knights at a time in King Arthur's court, deciding on who would be a thief and who would be a king and nobility of the land. Who was the roundest knight in King Arthur's court? Circumference. We commend you, sir. Now, sometimes I've worried that my body's eating itself alive. I made another video how I believe I might be dying, and maybe what happens is that my body's going to start eating its veins and start eating its kind of nervous system, and then I might die. So I found this really nice person who was telling me something about how they unfortunately did get, have their nervous system eaten alive and a neurological disease. And I was asking him, I said, did you hear about the guy who had the left side of his body amputated? He's all right now. Now here's another one, because remember that vampires often come at night. Now it's day, it's light. But what happens is at night, the vampires come. So how do you know a vampire is sick? He'll be coughing. Oh my, see this? This is a little bunny. A psycho bunny. But the most important thing, and forget about bunnies for a while, is a dog. How do you know that dogs float in a pool? I have a pool here. Can you see? There's a pool. If we put our little doggy in a pool, how do we know he would float? Well, that's because he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Now, for a while, I always thought that my dad was my biological dad. But unfortunately, I realized when I actually went and dug through all the papers in his house that I'm adopted. So how do you know you have a fake dad? Well, I think he's a bit of a faux pas. Knock, knock. Who's there? Ash. Ash who? Ah, bless you. Do you need a tissue? Now, I'm still young, but believe it or not, I've got a wife. And she's a beautiful lady. She has a beautiful inner personality, and outside she's just drop dead gorgeous. But I told my wife that she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised. Dum dum da da dum dum da da dum dum. Sorry, that's actually Pirates of the Caribbean. But do you want to join the dark side or the light side? I want to be part of Darth Vader's circle. Well, if I want to be part of Darth Vader's circle, the easiest way is just to start being his chef. But there's something that's a lesser known fact about him. How do you think he prefers his toast? On the dark side. Knock knock. Who's there? Owls who? Owls who? No, birds who. Failed joke. Okay, here's one more. Why did the frog take the bus to work? Because his car got towed. Why couldn't the pony sing a little bit lullaby? Because she was a bit hoarse. Failed. Last one about dogs, not bunnies, dogs. Dogs can't operate MRI machines, but cats can.